entered Colombia on Spirit Airlines. The ticket only cost me $63 on Spirit at the time, right from Fort Lauderdale, and I took the Greyhound bus to Fort Lauderdale and flew into there. So, first thing I want to talk about with Colombia is tip number 1. The police are your friends. Yeah, that's right. The police are your friends there. See, here in America, especially when you live in a neighborhood like I do, police is not really your friend. I mean, if you call them, then, you know, they might accuse you of the crime. You know, they're going to check your background and make you out to be the criminal. In Colombia, it seemed like the police are your friends. Now, I know there's some Colombians out there who probably going to disagree with me, but you can ask the police for help out there. They're everywhere, especially in Cartagena. So if you need any help, you can always, you know, ask them, and they will be glad to help you, it seems. Tip 2. You gotta always be situationally aware when you in Cartagena, because people do rob out there. I met a female who was from my neighborhood, yeah, down there, and she was with, you know, her white friend or whatever, and she said that, you know, they was in the main square, just, you know, mingling with everybody. Next thing you know, a kid walked up to him with a big old butcher knife, rusted too. It's like, give me your money. They had to give it up. So it don't really matter who you are, where you're from, or what you did. They'll pull out a knife and rob you. So you gotta always be aware, you know. And it's funny, you know, that I bring up that subject because, you know, I'm black, right? And there's a lot of black people down there. You got a lot of Afro-Colombians down there, like all over the place. It feels more like the Caribbean than it does Colombia, if that makes any sense. Hey yo, man, you know I ain't laughing. You look back in the background and there's a cabbie, yeah, and I don't really hate ya. As you can see, the street resemble Jamaica. Yeah, this is southeast of Cartagena. Yo, now speakers go and blame her. I don't really blame her. People hanging around like a hanger, never a gang banger. Yeah, cause you got the moto taxi, and that's the precise reason that I am rapping. Yes, I'm on the bus leaving the Barranquilla. Everybody in that club screaming, yeah, I can't rap, but yeah, man, this is just to illustrate the point I was talking about earlier. So people automatically assume that you're Afro-Colombian unless you start talking in English. So I'm at an ATM, right? I think I was at Banco Colombia, and I'm waiting in line. And there's a door that you can close and will lock, so nobody come in there on you. Everybody who was in front of me went through the door. And, you know, they didn't lock it or anything like that. So, but when I get up to the line, right, I go in there and I'm trying to withdraw money, and the ATM wouldn't let me. So there was a guy behind me, and I was like, are you there? Are you there? I guess I was trying to tell him, like, to help me, but he didn't understand me. So I just left the ATM and let him go in there, and he was looking like behind his back as if I was gonna like rob him or something. He was real like paranoid and like on edge. So he closed the door behind him and locked him and kept on looking behind his back, you know. But somebody else who helped me was like, hey man, you can go inside the bank. Went inside the bank, and, you know, I'm just standing there. People looking like, you know, like kind of uneasy. There's a lot of white Colombians up in there. Now, you don't see any black Colombians in the bank for some reason. You see them like outside on the street selling stuff, but you don't see them like inside the bank or working in the bank and whatever. So I know there's some things going on down in Colombia as far as that goes. But one of the ladies was looking at me. She was standing in line trying to get her banking details in order, and she noticed that, you know, she could look at me and tell I was American, and she started speaking to me in English. I started speaking to her, and she seemed kind of excited, and people was actually kind of surprised that I spoke English. So she let me know, like, hey, you can't use this bank because it's not compatible with your card. You got to basically go to Citibank. And that's why I saw a female who was from my neighborhood, and she told me the story, etc. And that's one thing about being on the road, is that people will always give you like email addresses that you can get in contact with them, and vice versa. And they ain't gonna never contact you. You ain't gonna never contact them, most likely. But, you know, it's just the rapport that you have with people who's on the road. You know, they're gonna hook you up, things like this. Now, when you hop on one of the moto taxis or cabbies, they will basically pull up to this area up there on the left where all the buses and all the taxis go. Problem is that if you don't know where you're going, it's right there, bam, by that yellow building. If you don't know where you're going, you're gonna have a problem because you're gonna end up hopping on another taxi anyway to get where you're going. Now, when I was leaving the airport, I took there are buses in front of the doors. People be like, hey, get on my bus, get on my bus. But I was watching a YouTube video where a guy said you have to walk to the corner and on the main avenue over there and basically catch one of the public bus to the main part of the town. And when you get over there, I mean, you got all type of taxis, moto taxis trying to get you on, and you're most likely going to get on. So I'm actually walking towards that area. It's located on Calle 7, where those guys are at on the opposite side of the street on the left. That's where you can catch the buses at. But if you don't know where you're going to go, you out of luck because you're going to end up hopping in the cab anyway. And cabs, they are extremely cheap. I think it costs me like, $1 or something, $2 to take that moto taxi. I think it was like 2,000 Colombian dollars. I'm not sure. But yeah, so if you don't know where you're going, by the time you get to that square over there, then you're gonna hop in a taxi anyway. And people say don't take a taxi while on the streets because you never know who you're getting in a taxi with. They could be on some scam artist stuff. They said always get your hotel or people at the airport or people at the restaurant to kind of call a taxi for you. Now I hopped in a shared taxi, so there was like 3 people up in there. Taxi driver dropped the other 2 people off at their destination and then dropped me off, and he couldn't even find my hotel. So he had to ask his taxi friend over the intercom thingy or radio speaker and whatever just to get directions. So you gotta always keep that in mind. And there's a lot of beautiful women in Colombia too, for all the dudes out there if y'all wondering. Yeah, people, as far as that goes, people say that the women in Colombia are on par with the women in Brazil, and I kind of agree with that. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. But anyway, so another thing I wanted to talk about was you need to learn Spanish because there's a lot of people who don't speak English there. You understand? They're not going to understand what you're saying. And all over Colombia. Like when I was in Cali, Colombia, getting off the bus outside of the bus station, I'm talking about I was looking for a Chinese restaurant. I was fiending for Chinese food. I had to have it. Yeah, look at the big Kool-Aid smile on my face, man. Because I finally found my Chinese food. Not in Cali, but in Cartagena. And there it goes right there. Hurry up, man. Just show it and open it up, man. You're taking too long, man. Sung Waa, I got you. The guys there spoke English and they was real happy about, practicing their English. Oh, man. There we go. Yeah. There we go. That's sweet and sour sauce right there. Yeah. You find the same ones in Belize and at the buffets here in America. So, yeah, that's what it is. So I was pointing at the dictionary, every cab that was, because like there's a line of cabs in front of the bus station. I was showing them my dictionary like, Chifa Chinese restaurant. And the guys was like, well, if you go over there and all that. And, most of them didn't understand what I was trying to say. I don't know if China or Chifa means something else in Colombia or whatever. That's one thing about Cali, Colombia, is that it looks like a major city here in America. It resembles Chicago or New York or somewhere. It has a modern infrastructure, and of course it has its hood areas, but when you take the bus through Colombia, you see that. Another thing about Colombia is all of the bus stations in Colombia have showers. That's right. You don't need to stop at a hotel. If you try to go through Colombia quickly, bam, just go to the bus station. Go to a shower, you fresh and clean, you all good. You only got to pay like a couple of dollars in order to shower and everything is well. But like I said, learn Spanish. Also, you need to bring shower shoes. Yeah, because you don't want that fungus eating up your feet because it will. Okay. Yeah, and it's not visible fungus that you can see, but believe me, it's down there. So make sure you have some type of shower. The shower attendant, who's also like the bathroom attendant, they give you shower shoes, so make sure to put them on because you're gonna need them. But yeah, the showers are good. They clean. ain't no thing. Another thing I want to talk about are the bugs. All right, in Cartagena, I didn't really see no bugs, right? But when we stopped at like a rest stop between Cali and another city, Cali and Bogota, man, I saw those big old moths up there, boy. I'm talking about the size of your hand. I mean, it was no joke with those with those moths. So this is one of the bathrooms at a rest stop in Colombia, with showers on the left, the stalls on the right. And I'm zooming in to the moths. Yeah, this is real South America, Amazon River, rainforest teeming with life type of moths. You understand? But surprisingly, I didn't see that many bugs in Colombia like I did in Thailand. When I was in Cartagena, there was a blackout that lasted a couple of hours. Pitch black on the streets, everything. You can hear people outside, everything. So I always keep that in mind. You always want to keep your electronics charged up, because, or some type of flashlight on you, because, bam, it will hit you. Another thing I wanted to talk about was the $50 a night I spent on a hotel room. I stayed in the Getsemani area of Colombia, which is like real close to the airport, and from what a guy told me, it was like the bohemian part of town, so it had that vibe, you know, along with it. And there was a couple of people who seen me, who said something to me in Spanish. I don't know what they said, but it's a cool area. But I paid $50 for a hotel room that I didn't think it was worth it. There was a lot of Americans staying there as well, so you know, you'll see them. The little hotel that I was staying in for $50 a night. Very small room with not much to offer. I'm not sure if this is the usual luxury accommodations in Cartagena, but it wasn't worth it for me. Only thing that was worth it was this part. The outside hallway with an outdoor experience where the sun is shining in. Pretty cool. You always find that in these colonial cities in that part of the world. Colombia is a very interesting place, I will say. You have some people who will catch an attitude with you, like when I'm fresh off the moto taxi and I'm walking around trying to get some food. I see this brother selling some watermelon, and I didn't know how much it cost. I was just gonna give him, like, you know, 1,000 Colombian dollars after 1,000 after 1,000. So when I gave him the 1,000, you know, he was like, you know, just, you know, like waved me off. I'm like, oh, my bad. So I went to somebody else and and bought from them. So, you know, you'll get that from time to time. From what I understand, and I don't know if this contribute to, you know, some people's attitude down there, but there was like a big war in Cartagena. That's why there's a big old fortress there. It's like a tourist attraction. Real beautiful. So that is the fortress right there. Very grand, boisterous, beautiful. It's one of the hottest tourist attractions in Cartagena. You will undoubtedly see it when you take a cab or a moto taxi. Where there was a, you know, big beef between the French and the Spaniards, I think, and the Americans had something to do with it too. So, you know, when you read articles about Cartagena, Colombia, they said that when you American, don't tell nobody you're American, because they're gonna look at you some type of way. But from what I experienced, they didn't really look at you any type of way. They just, you know, they don't kiss your butt if that's what you're looking for. They don't do that. But you know, it's a cool place. And like I said, as far as black people, you don't only see black people in Cartagena, Colombia. You see black people all over Colombia. I'm talking about Cali, Bogota, all over. You're gonna see black folks. That's just what it is, you know. And you know, they look and dress just like us. When you hear about Colombia, you always hear about like the Pablo Escobars or the white Colombians. I think they're mestizos. I know in Mexico they're called mestizos because they're mixed with Spanish. The indigenous mixed with Spanish. So down in Colombia, since they're mixed with Spanish as well, I don't know if they're mestizo, but they're like white Colombians. They consider themselves white. And from what I understand, there's like a little bit of discrimination against black people, because when you hear about cocaine in Cartagena or on the coast being cooked up in a lab in the middle of the jungles, normally it's Afro-Colombians doing that. You understand? On the lower level. You really don't see that in the media. I don't know why. You always see the white Colombians cooking it up, when in reality, it's not them. It's the Afro-Colombians, especially if you're on that Caribbean coast. They're cooking it up And on the higher level, it's your Pablo Escobars and people like this, and they don't really like dealing with the blacks like that. You know, there's a popular documentary called Cocaine Cowboys, right, where there was like a Colombian hitman, one of the big cartel females. Her name was, I can't think of her name. I'll put it in the description box. But she was dealing with this black dude out of Oakland and whatever. And the white male Colombian dudes had a real big issue with that. And you know, one of the Colombian hitmans, the white ones, was like, "Hey, I don't like them. I don't like them. Like I don't like black folks." And you know, you kind of feel that energy when you're down there. But you know, Colombia has its issues, but it is turning into a tourist destination. Because when you hear about Colombia, you always hear about drugs, violence, and whatever. And the government is taking steps to really fix that. They ain't on that no more. They're taking steps to make it into a tourist attraction. And there's a lot of people from all over the world who's not on drugs. You know, like when you hear about Colombia, yeah, it's drugs, game, you know, violence or whatever. But in reality, people are not living their lives thinking about that. When you go down there, people are cool and whatever. The problem is when you come back here and you enter that airport and you're going through like customs, first thing out of their mouth, why you go to Colombia? Why you go to Colombia? When you go to Colombia, we go secondary inspection. The secondary inspection, you know. So they're going to say it to you, especially if you black or if you Hispanic, if you don't speak English that well, or if you're from Europe visiting and you just came from Colombia. Oh yeah, they're going to pull you over to secondary inspection. If you're white, you good. For the most part, they pull over whites once in a while, but majority of the time they're pulling over quote unquote minorities. And when you tell people you've been to Colombia, I'm talking about light bulbs start going off in their head. They want to say, oh, drugs, this. I mean, it's the media that makes people like that. So when you get down there to Cartagena or Colombia and whatever, don't expect drugs, Pablo Escobar. People just living their life like anybody else on the planet. People are not on that. Police are friendly, it seems. And that's what it is, okay? Another thing, riding a bus through Bogota down to Cartagena. When you riding that bus, man, I thought it was just going to be a simple ride. Like here in America, you can get a bus ticket from Atlanta to Miami. And you know it's going to be a smooth ride. Not in Colombia. If you get a bus ticket from Cartagena to Bogota, which is located, it's like a city as big as Chicago, located on top of a mountain. Oh, it's going to be a real adventure. You better pop you some motion sickness pills for sure. Because that bus is going to be winding up. And then when you leave Bogota, it's going to be winding down. I'm talking about for hours. The bus driver's going 40 miles per hour down that hill. And if he make a split-second mistake, that whole bus is going over that edge into the ravine, killing everybody. That's just the reality. When you're going south, you're going towards Ecuador, like southwest. And when you get towards the Ecuadorian border, it looks like Ecuador. It don't even look like Colombia anymore. So this is parts of southern Colombia going towards Ecuador. As you can see, there's a lot of hilly streets that resemble Ecuador. And surprisingly, when you get up to that border, you will notice that it is extremely cold outside because of its elevation above sea level. So make sure to bring a coat, a jacket, because you're going to need it if you plan on entering that border of Ecuador coming from Colombia. This is the part when I was approaching the border. We was real close to there. And like I said earlier, as you can see, it doesn't look like Colombia anymore. Dorothy, you're not at home anymore. Yes, sir. People walking around. Pretty soon in the next clip, I'm over here smiling. Pretty soon in the next clip, you're going to see me actually cross the Ecuador border. Just wanted to go ahead and give you some visuals of the terrain down there. Of course, just like anywhere else in the world, for the most part, seems like the further you get away from the major cities, the more tranquil and relaxing it gets. It's not everywhere, but in many places. And right here, I just basically crossed the Colombian border. I traded in my Colombian pesos for US dollars because that's what they use. That's the main currency in Ecuador. I'm over here walking. You can see street dogs walking in the background, chilling, minding their own businesses. I said businesses, but yeah. And that's me zooming into the Ecuador sign. And to the right, you will see like a natural landscape, which is like an introduction to what the country is all about. Keep in mind, this is still Colombia. When I actually cross that sign, that's when I'm in Ecuador. That's the breathtaking, well, part of the breathtaking landscape right there. Yep. It's the same bus clip from earlier. As you can see, I was sweating. When you get off that plane, the heat is gonna engulf you. Yeah, this is a video of a guy. He was juggling at the rest stop between Bogota and Cali. I just thought this was a fun thing to record. You know, he was having fun. He was cool. Yeah, he's doing his thing. He's doing his thing. Yeah, man, I had to record that. I forgot to tell you that at that bus station, the moment you exit out of a cab, you will have a guy with a flat bottom buggy where you can put your luggage. And he will basically take you to the bus counter for a small fee. Once you're at the bus, you see, you don't have to get on that bus if you don't want to, because there's a bunch of buses that go to Bogota, Medellin, Barranquilla, places like this, and they all offer different amenities. Some bus companies might have Wi-Fi, others might give you sandwiches and water. Most buses have a VIP bus line, an economy bus line, and like a middle class bus line. So you will often see that and outside in Colombia. So that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it and got a lot of valuable information out of it. Peace.